In the before phase, I'd like you to think about and write down what are some things you need to do to get your project off the ground. This might include emailing people, scheduling social media posts depending on the kind of project you have in mind. So let's say that the idea that I've decided to work on is to organize a neighborhood mixer to get my neighbors to interact with each other. What are some things I need to do before that? So I might need to book a space, I might need to send out invitations, make flyers, organize food, find people to help me. I would also suggest that you put together a budget. Budgets are super helpful to help you to think more precisely about what you would need to get your project off the ground. You might not need to spend any money, but it's good to start thinking about the money then. The next phase is the during phase, which is when your project is running. For my project, for example, it's pretty simple since the mixer I'm thinking about might only be for one day or a few hours in a day. But for some of you, your project ideas might be longer. Like, for example, if you wanted to start a community garden, or if you wanted to have a weekly activity session or a semi-permanent fixture in your community. But think about how that project would look like and what you would need to put it together at that time. And the final phase is the after phase, which is after your project has been completed, regardless of its scale or length. If you have donors for your project, you will need to put together a simple report for them. If you want to get feedback on your project, you might put together a feedback form or a survey. At this stage, one of the key questions to ask is, what next? Going back to what I talked about in the beginning of the video about pivoting, now this would be a good time to consider doing that. This is a good point to evaluate what went well and what could have been better, and to decide where you want to go with your project. Sometimes, one of the things that stops us from starting something is the prospect or expectation to continue with the project forever. As people who have day jobs, this might not be a realistic thing to pursue full-time. The after phase of your project would be a good time to take a step back and think about the amount of time and effort you put in, and whether that is something you want to continue doing. I want to remind you again that it's absolutely fine to not scale up or not to turn your project into a profit-generating social enterprise. It's more important that you recognize what you can do, whether that's to continue the project, pass it on to someone else, or to do a different project. And that you don't let the what next prospect keep you from starting something in the first place. One good prompt to get you started on your project is the question, what small step can you take today? And we challenge you to take that first step. Email that person, book that space, buy those seedlings, because often that's what's needed to just get you going. Congratulations! You have completed the 30-day challenge for change. You now have new tools in your toolbox to go out there to harness and exercise your individual power to create change. As a final challenge, we'd like you to fill in the project planning framework and share it on Padlet. And also do respond to the question, what is the one step you can take today on the Padlet as well? Thank you so much for joining us on this challenge. We look forward to seeing your project ideas come to life.